Okay, I want to start out our presentation today with a story. And this story has to do with me. I guess I'm a little narcissistic that way. This is my experience. And when we start looking at safety and how I can be involved, I go back to my early experiences with safety. When I was in college, I worked as a metal fabricator. And I worked in an area where we bent parts. Had a machine like this. Hopefully the video is translating through all right so you can see that. But I was running a machine like this with a lot smaller parts than this, but this is the video I could find. And watch this right here is this clamp. Yep, see how that clamp die goes up? That uses hydraulic pressure and it has thousands of pounds pressure. And so I'm working at this facility, and I've been doing it for a while, paying my way through college, and one day I'm running this machine. There's another guy using this same type of machine, and he's only been there a couple of days, brand new guy, and we start our shift. And I'm just doing my job, and all of a sudden I see this new guy come running by me fast, and he's holding his hand as he's running, and I kind of caught my attention. I turned and looked, and I see a trail of drops of blood behind this guy as he runs along. Uh-oh! Shut down the machine to see what's happening, and he's run to the office. I go over to his machine, and here's a glove in his machine, and inside of that glove was a finger. It was his finger, and he'd left it there because it got into that clamp die, and that definitely caught my attention. It caught the attention of my coworkers as well. A lot of fallout from that. People were kind of in shock. We asked ourselves the question, holy cow, what just happened here? Why did that happen? Could that happen to me? Some of the people were ticked off. They were angry. How is it that we got this guy's finger cut off, and it's, he's a brand new guy. Was he trained right? And all kinds of questions like that. Some of my coworkers just got really angry, and they were mad. They were mad at the company, mad at all kinds of things. I personally took a little different angle. I kind of got busy. I said, we need a tool to keep ourselves safe in using this type of equipment. I wrote some procedures. I did some things. It wasn't my job, but I thought, I need to do this. I need to help my coworkers to stay safe in the workplace. It was, well, I'll keep going with this same angle. I was going to go a different direction on that. Have you ever had a situation in your workplace where you've questioned the safety of what you do? You've questioned the safety of a process or a piece of equipment. Is there anything in your workplace that scares you? Is there a task that scares you? Is there anything in your workplace that you don't want the new guy to do? You know you've got to have some experience. You've got to know exactly how to use this piece of equipment or exactly how to do this task, or you can mess up and get hurt. So that's I think that's a question all of us need to ask ourselves, and probably we all have maybe some situations where we're not quite comfortable with the conditions in our workplace. So we'll ask a big question. So how do we ensure we have a safe workplace? Who is responsible for safety where you work? Now, OSHA, we're going to have Evelyn Partner in here today to talk about their local emphasis program, but she has an opinion on who's responsible for safety. I guess the big question here is who's got your six? Who's got your back? if something isn't right, is there somebody watching out for you? Well, here's Evelyn's take on this, because she works for Utah OSHA. OSHA has a requirement called the General Duty Clause that says what an employer has to do to provide safety. It says each employer shall furnish to each of his employees employment and a place of employment which are free from recognized hazards that are causing or are likely to cause death or serious physical harm to his employees. That's the General Duty Clause. That's what an employer is responsible to do in the workplace. Are you going to go with that? Are you going to say, yeah, my boss has got it. I have a safe workplace. I'm here to encourage you not to go by that. Now, definitely many of you out there have great safety programs in your workplace, and your employers care about safety, but at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to take care of your safety. It's your responsibility to look out for your coworkers, because you're the person that's out there. You're the person that's got to make the decision whether you put your seatbelt on, whether you put your safety glasses on, whether you do those things that are not only required but important for you to protect your own safety. So under OSHA, they tell us that we have an obligation to wear the PPE, to use the proper procedures and all of that. So we have a legal obligation as employees as well. But more than that, it really comes down to us being responsible for our safety. We are responsible for our own safety. So here we go. You are hereby appointed as the safety director of your world. You are the king or queen of your castle. You are the lord of the manor. You are the master of your domain. You are responsible for your safety. How do you feel about your management? How do you feel about your responsibility? What would you do if suddenly your employer said, you are the safety director? How would you go about ensuring everybody's safety? Well, that's what we just did for you. Is we gave you a job to be the director of safety in your world. What would you do? Here's kind of my angle. I've worked for safety, and Doug and Brent have worked in safety for a long time as well. Here's some general guidance. Number one, safety first. Get involved, take action, and then support each other. What do I mean by safety first? We need to make safety a priority. Is safety first, or is it somewhere down the line? Are we going to make that commitment that if I'm out on a job and I don't have the proper equipment to do the job, I'm not going to take a risk. I'm going to shut down the operation and get the right stuff. I'm going to ensure that I have personal protective equipment with me. Is safety the first thing? Is it a priority in our world? And as a safety director, we need to make that our first priority. Okay. And by the way, this safety director job that you've just been appointed to also goes home with you. You're the safety director in your home as well. And you need to watch out for others in your home. Safety is really a state of mind. It's something that we practice not only at work, but in all that we do. Okay, so getting involved is a really important thing. Identifying hazards, knowing what your processes are. If there's a new process that we bring in, help to give input. I know a lot of times as I've had various jobs during my career, something new will come into the workplace, and people will they'll go and in hushed tones they'll grumble about it. Oh, this is the stupidest thing we've ever done here. Oh man, that's terrible. You know, somebody's going to get hurt on that. We need to take the initiative to get involved with the process. You know what, boss? I'm a little concerned about this piece of equipment. What about this? You know, maybe not in an accusatory tone or anything like that, but go into there with a real desire to help. I need to I need to make, to make a comment about this. Here's something that I think somebody could get hurt. I think here's a way that we can make this piece of equipment or this operation better. Can we change the process? Can we put a guard on? Can we do X, Y, Z? Okay. Volunteering for the safety committee is one great way that you can get involved with the process. This safety committee is an essential tool to build a good safety program. Now, your safety committee may not, may already be full, but you might just say, hey, if you ever need any help, you need somebody to do an audit, you need some whatever, or the next time you have an opening on the safety committee, I'd like to be involved. I think that is a tremendous way for you to make a good, positive difference in your workplace. All right. Being the example. There are leaders, there are people that have positions, and there are leaders. Some of you out there may not have a position of authority, you may not be a supervisor, you may not be a lead, but I'm here to tell you that you're a leader. You can see those people as they walk into the room. People look to them for information, for guidance, and really direction. And you can fit that role when it comes to safety. If somebody goes to cut a corner, somebody makes a comment, derogatory comment about doing things the right way, here's your opportunity to be the example and let everybody know what the right thing is and build that culture of safety in the workplace. We all want to make a difference. We work for government entities because we want to make a difference in people's lives. We don't necessarily work there for the pay. We could probably go out and find a job elsewhere where we could make a little more money, but we have an opportunity in governmental service to make a difference in people's lives. Going back to that initial story I told you about the guy getting his finger cut off in that bender, that day was that event was a seminal moment in my life, in my career, because I was in college and I was going down a different path, and at that point I said, you know what, I need to work on safety because I think I can make a difference in the world, and I think every one of us can do that as well. If there's something that's amiss, if there's something wrong, it's not right, open your mouth. If you see the Band-Aids, if you see the duct tape, open your mouth and say, here's a problem. This could turn out to be this could turn out to be an injury. This could turn out to be a big problem. So be aware of your surroundings. Don't go through life just saying, yeah, somebody's taken care of to make this safe. Be aware of how things are stored. Well, you know what? That stuff might fall off of the shelf. Somebody left a hose laying across the walkway, or a cord, or just the general housekeeping of our workplace. Here are some problems, and take action. You're the safety director of your world. As you go into an area, ask yourself, how do I get out of this place if it catches on fire? What are the emergency procedures, and commit those to memory, and if other people don't know those, help them to understand this is how we do it here. Know what your procedures are. Many times people are doing a job without knowing what the procedure is. If there's not a procedure for it, help in developing that procedure. The new guy that comes in may not have done this before. Now they might tell you they have. It's on their resume that they've done this type of an operation, but it's our responsibility as safety director in our world to help those new employees know what the process are, understand what our controls are, and help them out. The process isn't there. Help to build it. You know how to do your job better than anybody else, and your management will be happy for you helping out on those things. All right. So you're responsible. You're responsible for your actions. You're responsible for your conduct. We have a number of workers' comp claims and auto claims that come in each year that involve horseplay, people messing around and somebody gets hurt. It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. And so we need to be responsible for our actions, responsible for our own workplace. What does your workplace look like? If you have a workstation, is it clean? Is it orderly? Are tools put away? Are those cords up and off of the floor? Trip hazards, and are there spills? Just a general awareness of your area and taking responsibility for that area. For your adherence to policy, you're responsible to wear your personal protective equipment. If you're grinding or you're using something that would require you to wear safety glasses, it's incumbent on you to have those glasses with you and to wear those. Don't take that as yeah, this is the man telling me I have to do this. It is for your own good. Had a situation, a place where I worked. There was a guy, he'd lost an eye earlier in life, and he was a coworker, and so he had one eye, and he was working on his car at home, and he was prying on something with a screwdriver underneath his car, and the screwdriver popped out of his hand, and you know where it ended up? It ended up in his one remaining eye, and he lost that eye. And I over the years, I thought back on that and thought how sad that was, and even more how sad that this guy didn't catch a clue that after he lost one eye, and he ended up being blind from this accident that had happened. Take that initiative on yourself to do the right thing. Know what those hazards are in your workplace. Ask yourself, if there's something new that you do, how does it work? What are the potential hazards to me, and what are the controls that are in place? If the controls aren't in place, we need to point out, hey, we need a control, we need a tool, we need whatever it may be, personal protective equipment, to make this a safe process. Keep yourself knowledgeable of where's the nearest fire extinguisher, where's the nearest exit, first aid kit, all of those things that will benefit us if an injury or an accident does happen. Where's that emergency equipment? And also doing audits and checklists. So here's a challenge for you today, and I'm going to send out a copy of some audit forms. I'll send out one for an office environment, one for more like a shop environment. And your challenge for today or this week, and you may have a crazy day, but sometime this week, take this audit out and audit your work area. It has a list of standardized questions. You may not have an eye wash station. That's okay. You can check that one off as not applicable, but here's a list of those things that you can go through and get familiar with the area and what those safety rules are. Part of being a safety director is understanding what the rules are, and this will help you with that. Okay, speak up. If you see a problem, point it out. If you've got a better way of doing something, say it. I'm not saying this is a better way of doing something. That's a problem. Report all incidents and close calls. If something happens, it was a close call. Most of the time, what do? If there's a close call, we look around to see if anybody saw what almost happened, and then we go, whew, got lucky on that one. That could have been bad, and then we go about our life, and we don't say anything. It's important to report those close calls and near misses so we can take action to prevent that from the next time not being a near miss, being a hit. If you're injured, you need to report that immediately to your supervisor. It's important that we do this, one, so we take care of the hazard maybe that caused the injury, but two, so we get you the proper care. So report immediately to supervisor. If they send you to the doctor, make sure that paperwork gets back to the supervisor, and cooperate to get yourself healthy and healed up as soon as possible. If the doctor gives you restrictions, follow those things. Don't do anything to re-aggravate your injury, even if that's at home. Well, I hurt my back at work, but I've got a side job at home. I've got to do that. Don't do those things. We want to get you healthy and get you back to work. Some other things you can look at is getting appropriate training. We start talking about safety, and some people say, "Well, I don't know quite what to do." Well, we have a great library of these webinars on various different subjects. You can go in and stream those at any time. They're online. You can stream those. We have a library of DVDs. You may have a training program at the workplace, but set some goals. I'm going to get trained up to ensure that I have all the resources necessary to keep myself safe and allow me to do my job as the safety director of my world. Okay. And also realize that we're in this together. How can we work as a team? Safety committee is an important tool in that, but working as a team to point out when there's a problem, when there's a hazardous situation, and really have each other's back, have each other's six. Okay, so just to wrap things up, here's your action. Make a commitment today. Make the commitment. I'm the safety director in my world. I am going to make safety first, and I'm not going to cut those corners if a situation presents itself where I might be tempted to do an unsafe act. I'm committed to safety first. Learn about your workplace. Know what your hazards are. Know what your emergency equipment is. Know what your policies, procedures, and all of those things are. Know how that equipment works. Set some goals. My goal this year is not to have an accident in the rest of the year. I also have some goals that I want to learn some new things to make myself better, to make my workplace better, and think about goals like that. Get involved. Volunteer for the safety committee, or just get involved in your workplace and say, hey, there's a problem with this tool. We need to fix it. And if you can fix it, take action. Do an audit. That's your challenge for this week, and I'll send that out to everybody who signed up, so you can print that up and just go walk through your area and learn a little bit and point out some issues. What do you do with that audit sheet when you're done? Well, take it to your supervisor and say, here's some things I found. I fixed all the problems that I could, but there are a couple on there that we need to look at, and ask the supervisor, hey, can you work on this? It's something that we do together, and more than anything, work together to help each other out. All right, that was the presentation. I hope there were a couple of things in there that you may have found beneficial. If you've got any questions or comments, go ahead and type them into the chat box or the Q&A box. Brent and Doug, did I miss anything? Anything you want to add? They're still muted.
Nothing else. You did a great job, though.
Well, thank you very much. Doug?
Very motivating, Jason. Thank you.
Oh, man. This morning started early. I got to be motivating. All right, guys. I'm not.
That motivates. The missing finger, that motivates.
Oh, it motivated me. It definitely did. It changed my career path. So, all right. Okay. Richard says Happy Halloween, and the same to everybody out there. It looks like we don't have any comments or questions there. Everybody have a safe day out there. Keep those little trick-or-treaters safe. Watch. Be aware as you're out driving around. Those kids are going to be out on the street tonight. And let's have a safe day.